What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, we got another restoration here. This happens to be one of my favorite watches of all time, a classic two-tone 36mm Datejust, reference 16013. Now this one had a problem. I bought it with a problem. So let's start breaking this thing down. Do not forget, if you're looking to buy, sell, trade, or do any of those things, feel free to reach right out to me anytime. All my information is linked down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Stay up to date with all the inventory that's coming in, as well as all the deals I'm throwing out. Now also, if your watch is in need of some type of repair, go right to the website, fill out a Service My Watch form, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But for now, let's open this box. Let's see what we got. So now, what's the significance of this watch? So the 16013 reference was actually the first watch I ever bought and I ever sold. Shout out to Jaime. You know who you are? Sold that watch, I made a profit, and ever since then, I've been on the hunt looking for the cleanest 16013s. And I mean, this is one of them. Now, it sounds crazy, right? Just take a look at this thing. Two-tone, 18 karat yellow gold and stainless steel. But wait a second. This one's a little bit more special. Now, we'll get into why it's a little bit more special in a second. Now, I know tons of you guys are going to take a look at this thing and go, Pete, how is this one of the best condition watches you've ever seen? And this is where years in this industry come into play, all right? Noticing diamonds in the rough. Now, what do I mean by that? Obviously, you guys could see all the scratching, all the marring going on, high polished bits that are scuffed up, the buckle here. It looks like Freddy Krueger took a swing at it. But when I take a look at this watch, it's in phenomenal condition. It just needs to be cleaned up and restored and brought back to life. This crystal, I don't know if someone drove it across the pavement. I have zero idea. But when I take a look at the case here, this thing is ready to go. This thing is going to turn out absolutely mint. And this silver tapestry dial, one of my favorite dials, one of the most uncommon dials to find in this watch. It's very rare, and this watch is ready to go. So we're going to start breaking this thing down. First thing we got to do is remove the bracelet. So now, while I'm breaking this watch down, I'm going to give you guys a little bit more information on the 16013 and why I believe it is the best value for the money. Now, this is a 36mm Rolex Datejust, obviously on a Jubilee bracelet. It houses a 3035 quickset caliber movement. Now, that's one of my favorite movements, very easy to work on, very reliable, just the workhorse of a watch. Now, when you buy these things in great condition, there's nothing else to compare apples to apples to. All right, this is the best bang for the buck, especially when you get it in condition like this. Now, once again, you guys take a look at the buckle here. A lot of this stuff is very superficial. It was well loved. It was well worn. And the condition is still perfect. When I take a look at the backside of this bracelet, there's no indentations in the center links. We have minimal. When I say minimal stretch, this thing is a cherry. It's ready to go. So now we're getting the case back off. Now we can take a look at our 3035 movement. But once again, guys, for the money, this really is the best watch. I mean, both from the Rolex lineup or really any other brand out there. There's nothing more iconic than slapping a Rolex on the wrist. But when you add two-tone in the mix, there's nothing else like it. The wrist presence is absolutely crazy. So we're breaking this thing down a little bit further. Now we can actually take a look at this crystal. Now this is the original crystal. And I will restore it a little bit and I'll give it to whoever buys this watch, but I don't think I'm going to reuse it. There's too many bites on the corners, the top side of the crystal. It can be polished, but it's just not worth it. It really isn't, especially when we're going to clean this thing up to like new. But I mean, take a look at the case. Look at the lugs. They're very thick, very even. We have a nice fluted bezel here. And I mean, overall, this thing is going to clean up perfectly. You guys are going to see. But here, this is the actual reason that I bought this watch. I know it sounds nuts to buy a watch for a dial. I just love the silver tapestry dial. I think it's the nicest looking dial in any of these models. But enough talking about it, guys. Let's get on with this restoration. Let's start breaking this movement down. And just like that, the last piece of the automatic module is coming out. We could throw everything in the baskets and put this in the cleaning machine. Now, shout out to Zenith Clockworks. All the cleaning solutions, they do a phenomenal job, especially when you have fresh canisters in the machine. But I mean, they just came out perfect. I mean, this barrel was absolutely disgusting. I cleaned it up by hand a little bit, but shout out once again, Zenith Clockwork Solutions. Now we're going ahead, we're going to start winding up this mainspring. Now this is actually one of my favorite parts. I don't know why, I guess because it's not turning a screwdriver. It's a little bit different, it's a little fun. We're making this little spiral. This is the mainspring which holds all the power for the watch. So we got our barrel here, it's fully greased, it's ready to go, ready to be shot back in. And bang, the mainspring is back inside the barrel. We could get on with this reassembly. All right, so we're at the final stage of the bottom side of this movement. Now, guys, it's very hard to put this thing back together on camera, but we got the balance in, the balance is running, and now we can take a look at how the watch is actually running. All right, it's running like crap. I'm not going to lie. This is actually how it was running exactly before I serviced it, minus the amplitude. The amplitude was running about 230. So now, no music here. I'm just going to talk to you guys and tell you exactly what we're looking at. Now guys, keep in mind, every time I restart this test, we need about 30 seconds of stabilization. So don't worry about the amplitude fluctuating so much. What we're really after right now is our beat error. That's what we're focusing on. So I'm going to move the stud, and in real time, you guys are going to see this yellow and blue line running across turn to a solid green line. We want it as close to 0.0 as possible. So now I go ahead, I move this stud again, and as you can see, the lines have finally met up and we have a solid green line. Let's restart the test, let the watch stabilize, and now as you guys can see, we have a 0.1 millisecond beat error. Now that's perfect, that's great. We're going to try and get it to 0.0. Now don't worry about the rate in second per day. This needs to be adjusted via the micro Stella screws on the actual balance wheel itself. I took care of that. Now we have a perfect running movement, both dial side up, dial side down, and in all other positions. Healthy rate, healthy second per day, healthy amplitude, and a perfect beat error. Let's get on with this reassembly. We're close. Now right around here is where you want to do your final checks before we start slapping dials on, because then we got to go back in, we got to take care of anything that's not working. Make sure the quick set is working, make sure that the date wheel mounted is engaging, and the date is flipping over. Everything is working perfectly, dial goes back on, now we could start reinstalling the hands. Now as you guys can see here, I'm going to check again. Everything should flip over at 12 o'clock, right? And hold on. And we're off. All right. Sorry. We're going to readjust it. We'll pull the hour hand back off and we'll readjust this. Now everything is running perfect. Our seconds hand is back on, and now we can let this thing finally run. But we still have one more part of this movement that we have to reassemble. It's going to be the automatic module. This is what also causes a watch to wind very tight. We have dirty reversing wheels. Just a dirty movement in general will cause that, but this was pretty much the main culprit. Almost no oil, lots of dirt buildup, but this thing's ready to rock. Now you can jump right into polish. Now, if you guys remember, I actually bought this polishing machine in the last video. Probably one of the best investments I could make. This thing has already paid for itself about 80,000 times over. So now we're going to go ahead. We're going to start recasing this movement. Yes, I did install a new crystal. You guys will see that in a second. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to take the stem, add some 9504, which is that blue grease. We want to add it to the pilot as well as what's sliding into the sliding pinion, just so everything's nice, greased up, and we don't have metal on metal contact. Now, our automatic module could go back down and check this out. We got a nice, smooth winding operation. Everything is lubricated. This watch is running great. New gasket. Now we can close up our case back, flip the watch back over, and lastly, reinstall our bezel. And just like that, ladies and gents, that's all. That's all she wrote. Take a look at this beaut, all right? Oh my God, I am actually very happy with the outcome of this watch. This watch came out absolutely phenomenal. It's now running great. All of the lines, everything has stayed perfectly intact. I didn't go crazy with the polish. You really never want to. This thing's gonna be worn again, someone's gonna love it, and they're gonna beat it up themselves. But look at the crystal. I mean, we could have reused the old one, but I mean, a fresh crystal on a freshly cleaned watch, freshly serviced. I mean, come on, it's the icing on the cake. This dial shining right through. This bracelet came out phenomenal. All right, there's no deep marring, no deep pits, scratches, scuffs. And take a look at the buckle. Ladies and gents, what did I tell you guys? All that stuff is very superficial. It comes right out with a very light polish. Nothing crazy here. Nothing was done. Nothing crazy. We still got the nice case here. And when I say we take care of the lines, take a look at how much material is left between the bezel and the crown itself. This case still looks unpolished. To me, at least, it does. Sharp edges, our bezel, nice flute still going on. Everything is perfect. Now, of course, everyone, thank you for tuning back in. Thank you for watching this restoration. This watch is now available along with a plethora of other watches at horologyexchange.com. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and go check out the website. Next week, there's going to be a major announcement. I'm talking over 100 plus watches being added to the site. So guys, thank you for watching. Have a good one and enjoy.